Hey, I'm Follygon, and I've been a professional digital sculptor for over a decade. But what a lot of people don't know about me is that I have zero art school experience. 2 years ago, I decided I wanted to expand my skills and learn to draw, learning a new medium once again without any formal art education. I went into this practice knowing two things. 1, I would succeed, and 2, it would probably take a long time and a lot of hard work. But because I'd done this before with digital sculpting, I was confident that I would succeed. However, when I started drawing, I definitely misremembered how tough it is to be a beginner. Luckily, I have a huge motivator in my wife who decided to learn to draw beside me. And in that, we both helped push and motivate each other to keep growing. We spent the first year of learning to draw completely on our own, building a habit and experience along the way. I believe habits are incredibly important to art and your success. So important, in fact, that I made a guide on building a drawing habit. Please check it out at the link below. So after a year, one of the first resources that we dove into hard was MedsMap by Ahmed Aldoori, a course that teaches fundamentals and provided fantastic assignments, which is something I've found to be missing from most art courses. After learning more about fundamentals, I hit the ground running and got to work practicing those ideas. I've always found it so funny how you can be told something a million times, but not until you practice it yourself will it really start to click. I had good days and I had more bad days than I'd like to admit, but all in all, I was consistent. I showed up almost every day and put in at least a little work. There are 2 things that really help me stay consistent on my journey. Number 1, having a dedicated place to draw. I love going to cafes personally. I love the atmosphere, having a nice drink, and over time, I started to associate that location with drawing. So when I'd show up, I'd immediately be in the mood to draw. The second thing was a small mental trick that especially worked well on days when I felt like I had no time. And that is the 1-minute rule. I would tell myself that I only had to draw for 1 minute. That's all I had to do to check it off my list for the day. And sometimes I would only work for a single minute, but most of the time, when I got everything ready, sat down, and actually started, it was much easier to continue for longer than 1 minute. So having a dedicated place to draw and the 1-minute rule both helped to keep me motivated and consistent. Often when I would tell people that I can't draw, their first reaction would be confusion because, well, I've been a successful digital sculptor for so long, how could that make any sense, right? And I'll be honest, I don't believe I'm an outlier when I say that the 2 skills are very much separate from one another. Here are some of my first works right when I started my journey. Yes, I had drawn before this, but I had never dedicated myself to any form of consistent practice. After 1 year, I was seeing more success. I would have been really sad if I wasn't seeing any improvement, but I still had a long way to go. After 2 years, I'm seeing even more success. Obviously, still a long way to go from here as well. However, there is a very clear line of improvement when I look back over my work, and I love getting to see that progress. It's very gamified, kind of like getting to see your level go up over time. There were a ton of different hurdles I faced along the way as well, way too many for me to mention. But at one point, I thought that lines just weren't for me and I was going to stick to painting only, which I guess isn't terrible, but I definitely changed my opinion on that, thankfully. There was even a time where the selection tool became my primary source for creating 2D art because I found it much more similar to sculpting and therefore easier for me to do. But in the end, the hardest part was just being consistent. I found that I needed to stop trying to be perfect in my practice and instead just show up. I took breaks when I needed to reassess my life and schedule and make sure I wouldn't get burned out. And most importantly, I drew exactly what I wanted to as often as possible. Keeping things fun and interesting was the number 1 thing that kept me excited and returning to drawing each day. Now, I have improved a lot at drawing over the past 2 years. Do I wish I could have improved more? Yes, of course. But I'm also very comfortable with where I am right now because I'm not trying to reach a specific end goal, but rather I have the goal of drawing as much as I can and enjoying it as much as I can. I'm in love with the act of creating, whether or not the end product is anything special. If you're interested in learning to draw, take it from me, a guy who made this, but also this, that you can learn to draw too. If you stay consistent, get a community to encourage you, and make sure that you are having fun, I promise it'll be a breeze. If that sounds like something you want, I encourage you to check out Drawbly. That's my second channel where my wife and I share all of our drawing progress. There's a link below for that. If I could summarize the last 2 years into one word, I think it would be excited. I'm excited to see what the future holds. If this is how much I've improved in only 2 years, well, I can't even begin to imagine where I'll be in another 2. If you found this video helpful, click that like and subscribe button and check out this video where I talk about navigating failure in art and finding inspiration. Thanks so much for watching and have a fantastic rest of your day.